Hey, what's up? So with the Weapon Mastery update coming at some point, probably not in the near future, I have some more weapon design concepts. I want to make that part clear. Concepts that I want to show off, including some that I don't think have been released publicly yet. But about that concepts part, none of these designs or design features are like 100% confirmed to happen. Like, they're all still being worked on, and I've heard that the programming literally hasn't even began. It's still just only in the modeling stage, so yeah. But to start us off, here's the OTS-14 Groza. So this features a red dot sight, as well as obviously a grenade launcher. I'm not as big of a gun nerd anymore as I once used to be, but I believe that this grenade launcher was specifically built to be used on a Groza, instead of just like a normal AKM grenade launcher put onto it. So that is pretty cool to see. The red dot sight exists. I don't have anything to say about that. Also, I find it quite curious. They put a strap of blue tape on the magazine, which makes me think that there's going to be a different ammo type. But yeah, about that, it is conceptualized that like grenade launchers will be like an actual thing you can use and not just a decoration on your gun. And same with actual different ammo types, which I'll get into more later. Next is the Makarov, which is a Makarov with, I think that's like an 81 or 88, something like that, round drum magazine, which I find kind of funny because it's kind of a bad pistol. It does like no damage, but with a huge magazine, I could see it being kind of useful if you have like an auto clicker or something. So here's the SKO Shorty. I think it looks really sick with this like extended top rail. I think that looks really awesome. Reminds me of like the G36 or like the VHS2. And I believe it's also shown here with a longer barrel, which should hopefully impact damage. And it finally has a stock, as well as what looks to be an extended magazine, so maybe like 15, 16 rounds, instead of the usual 10, I think it's 10. And it has a red dot sight, forgot to mention that, but you guys have eyes, so I don't really know if I need to. Now here's the M320. It is an M320 with what looks to be like an IR laser or something, with a red dot sight on it too. Maybe it's not IR, which stands for infrared, but rather UV. You could have a UV flashlight to look at all the bodily fluid stains on the battlefield. I don't know. Or maybe it's a rangefinder. Actually, it very well could be a rangefinder. That's probably what it is. And I think it would make the most sense on this anyways. You could have a rangefinder to more accurately adjust your aim, even though you have a red dot sight, in which case knowing the range would be effectively useless. So I don't know. And then here's another angle of the same thing. I had to ask which gun this even was, because a lot of pistols just look the same, but I believe this is the P320. You can see it's made into kind of like a pistol carbine thing. It has a, I guess it would be called a pistol brace in this instance, and like a vertical grip with a built-in magazine for quick reloads, I suppose. And obviously it also has an extended magazine, a flashlight, and a red dot sight. And here's another angle of it. And I think I'll go back and also talk about the previous ones that were released a while ago. So this is the SVD-M, I suppose it would be. It has both a bipod and an angled grip, which I find interesting to look at. And then it also has a suppressor with like, I guess like heat shielding wrap around it, as well as like grip tape on the magazine and grip. And it has like an AR-15 style extendable stock and a probably modernized scope, even though it looks basically the same. I think the reticle might be slightly different. Here's the Thompson. It's pretty much just turned into a Tommy gun. It has the, I guess, kind of angled vertical grip with what looks to be the 100 round drum magazine. I don't think this is like a Chicago typewriter though, because the iron sights look different. It had a very like complicated kind of folding range sight, and I believe it also had like cooling fins on the barrel right here above the grip. And here's the Glock 17. It has, I suppose, another pistol brace. I don't know what the terminology is, if that would be a pistol brace or stock or what. With a massive drum magazine right there. I don't know how many that would hold. And also, obviously, it comes with a suppressor, a flashlight, and a red dot sight. And then here's the Uzi. It has a wooden full stock with the huge double drum magazine, which I think holds 100. Quite an interesting vertical grip, because it doesn't look like it's on a rail, actually, so that would be like part of the actual gun that wouldn't be removable, which I find interesting to look at. And here's the very first weapon mastery I saw, which is still probably my personal favorite, just for the potential of the gun, the FAL. It has a, I think, 50 round drum magazine with an angled grip, a short barrel, and probably like a medium range magnified optic, and a folding stock. Now, getting into the ones that haven't, to my knowledge, been publicly revealed yet. First of all, thank you to Ocelak once again for showing me these. He also showed me some of the weapon masteries I just covered, which was in the like sneak peeks video like a few weeks ago, I think. So yeah, thank you, Ocelak. So here's the PPSH-41. I find it very interesting. It has an OKP7, and I think that's also an extended barrel, like a slightly extended barrel, and a vertical grip, which another interesting choice, I think. I'm not sure if I really like the look of the extended barrel. I'm honestly not sure if I like the look of this at all. I just think it looks weird, but I don't know how you would improve this for like a weapon mastery version of the PPSH, because it already gets the 71 round drum magazine, so there's not really much improving because there's no attachments for it. It was made in World War II. Here is the Taurus Judge. It has an extended barrel on it as well as a polymer grip. The one we have right now might be polymer, I honestly can't remember. But the key difference here is the extended barrel, which I'm hoping would increase damage and maybe decrease spread as well. And here's the Ash 12. It has a vertical grip with a suppressor and like an EOTech sight on it. I have a couple things I want adjusted to this gun. First of all, what is the suppressor? The Ash 12 has a unique, like huge, fat, chunky suppressor, specially made for it. So I think it would look way cooler if it had the actual suppressor. And the EOTech sight on it, I mean, I'm not like particularly offended by that. I just think it would look cooler if it had the like carry handle sight on it with a red dot mounted on top, because I believe it has a rail on top, just to give it some more like design uniqueness, because I think it's a really cool looking gun. And then here's the Tech 9, which looks to be just an MP9 with an extended barrel, which, I mean, I think looks really cool. But I feel like of all guns shown so far, this is one of the most deserving of a drum magazine, especially if it's made full auto in the mastery version of it, which it better be. I'm going to be sad if it's still semi-auto. Here is the Serbu Super Shorty. For some reason, that's really hard for me to say. It has like these shell holders on the side as well as like a muzzle brake and a red dot sight on top. I think it's kind of odd that in both the non-mastery and mastery versions, the like vertical grip is still folded inwards, so you can't actually use it. I would like to see that and just fold it outward just to give it a little more character. Here's the LWRC IC PSD. I think I got that name right. I think it looks pretty cool, and again, not really something you can improve on like the PPSH because it already had a drum magazine. That's pretty much the main thing you can do to upgrade a gun in this game. So kind of just like a bunch of attachments, but I still think it looks cool. So kind of like a stubby grip with a hand stop with a laser aiming module mounted on top. And I think that's a flash hider instead of a like weird stubby suppressor, which is what I originally thought. It also gets like a lighter looking stock on it. I think it looks good, but I'm personally not a fan of the like red dot sight on top with the riser on it. I just prefer the scope it already has. Here is the M14, which is either an M14 EBR or M39 EMR. They are kind of the same thing. It retains the high zoom scope that the M14 has right now, but it also gains a bipod and a suppressor as well as a laser aiming module. Obviously like a very modern furniture to it. I'm also curious if it would be made automatic instead of semi-automatic, because I feel like one of the M14's main strengths in Those Who Remain is its spammability, because it has a very fast fire rate for being semi-auto. Like if you're in a pinch, you can just hip fire and go full auto and basically kill whatever is in front of you. Though again, like another matter of personal preference, I would prefer it without a suppressor and just like have like a flash hider or a muzzle brake instead, because I just like hearing the gun. Here's the UMP45. It gets a like a rectangular suppressor, which looks pretty neat, and a vertical grip and an EOTech or something. I don't know if that's an EOTech, it just kind of looks like one, so I'm calling it that. I think it looks pretty cool, but apart from that, I don't really have much to say. Here is the Winchester Model 70. I think it looks really nice. It has a polymer furniture to it with the same high magnification scope it already has, but this time it's magazine fed, so that's going to make reloading from empty much quicker. I also like the added detail of the rounds on the side of the stock there. I doubt that's even going to be like a usable feature, but still looks cool. And a little hard to see, it also has a muzzle device on the end. This is the Aero Survival Rifle. Reminds me of the LWRC that was shown a little earlier, like the same color scheme and kind of the same attachments. I also quite like the look of this. It went from like a target shooting rifle to a very cool looking target shooting rifle and maybe PDW. It has the same small red dot scope that was shown on the LWRC, and also a vertical grip, and probably a 33 round extended magazine, because I think this takes Glock mags. Here's the M16A1. I think it looks pretty neat with the unique style scope mounting system. It also gets a full-size 30 round magazine, and I also really like that they kept the M16A1 handguard on it instead of changing it to like a more modern M16 handguard, because I really like the triangular shape of it. It looks really unique. I will say though, I think it's kind of odd they decided to go with this mount instead of just the scope that mounts directly on top of the carry handle. I still think it looks pretty neat though. Here's the AA-12. Interestingly, it's downgraded to, I think that's like an 8 or a 12 round stick magazine, but it also gets a vertical grip and looks like a side rail there with nothing on it, and a small red dot sight on top. Ocelot also mentioned that the AA-12 would supposedly receive Dragon's Breath incendiary ammunition, but I just also think it's a really strange decision to take away the drum magazine, because I'm going to be honest, the AA-12 is already kind of mid. This thing already kills whatever it's pointed at. The main issue for it is ammo. And with this, you're going to get barely any per reload. I mean, I guess you'll get more per pickup. You know, you'll get like 2 or 3 magazines. It's just, I don't know. This is supposed to be like a crowd control weapon to me. And with such a tiny magazine, it doesn't make sense. Even with the possibility of it getting Dragon's Breath. I would much rather see it just getting fragmentation rounds. That's what I've been begging for the past like 2 or 3 years. Please just give it explosive rounds. And then that way we could have another counter to Juggernauts that isn't, you know, absurdly high level. It could just get like a tiny blast radius, like just enough where if you hit a zombie, then like one a meter away will also get damaged from it or die. And if it does get the frag rounds, I still think it should get the 32 round magazine. I just think it's so weird taking it away, or at least give it a 20 rounder if you're concerned about balance that much. And it would also like absolutely cement its place as a crowd control weapon. I just think frag rounds are a much better fit for it than Dragon's Breath. Because again, the Dragon's Breath wouldn't really do much help when you're already killing stuff in 1 or 2 shots. In order for it to be effective, you basically have to spray into a crowd from afar to hit like many targets with your individual pellets. But at that point, you're doing like no projectile damage, so you're only going to be getting damage from the flame, which is probably not going to be powerful enough to actually kill them. I would rather see Dragon's Breath being put onto another shotgun, and then maybe like other ammo types like slugs or flechettes onto different shotguns. So instead of the shotguns kind of just being really similar to each other, they all get like their unique bonuses. So there's a reason to pick different shotguns instead of just whatever's clearly the best. Okay, with that huge shotgun rant finally over, here's the P90. So it gets a slightly extended barrel, and it also gets this really unique, like, rail mount system on top of it, which features a vertical grip, and it retains the same mini sight it had before. It also gets like these 2 buckle strap things at the end here, which I think looks pretty neat. I actually really like this design because it kind of accentuates the P90's futuristic style to it. I think it looks really sick. And lastly, here's the Steyr AUG. It's pretty much just been turned into an AUG H-bar. It has a slightly lengthened barrel with a 42 round magazine. Apart from those 2 details, it's kind of just the same thing. I think the color scheme is a little different. It looks like a dark green instead of a light green now. And also, I hope they change the barrel to be longer too, because I don't think that's the full length barrel that the H-bar has. So again, Ocelot put it pretty well right here. All models shown above are subject to change. Masteries are not scripted yet, so anything like grenade launchers or special ammunitions are not confirmed to be added yet. This is all coming from people who are somewhat involved with the Masteries update. I don't think there's going to be very many drastic changes to the guns. I think they're going to largely stay the same, apart from maybe the grenade launchers and the ammo types, because I feel like that's most likely to change. So I wouldn't really get your hopes too high about that, but I also could realistically see that happening, so I don't know. So another key point he said is that Masteries are not scripted yet, which makes me wonder if they have like decided on a system to actually obtain them yet, in which case I'd like to just give my own thoughts on that. I think a good way to go about getting them would be to force the player to get like, I don't know, a set number of kills, like maybe 1,000 would be fair. And then to also have like a secondary side goal, kind of unique to each gun, but could be shared between them. So for instance, for sniper rifles, it could be like long range kills. You get like 100 of those plus the 1,000 kills, and then you unlock the mastery. For shotguns, it could probably be hipfire kills. SMGs, maybe like kill 10 zombies in 10 seconds or something like that. You know, like to fit their fast fire rate. A fitting thing for assault rifles and battle rifles, I think, would be like get a number of torso kills. I don't know, just some kind of side goal in addition to the 1,000 kill requirement that would fit each kind of weapon class. I don't know, just something to make the player actually need to use the gun. I don't want it to be like you can just purchase your way to getting a weapon mastery for every gun with like barely any usage on them. Because I think this weapon mastery update would give a lot of like replayability for those like level 300s who have like $50 billion in stockpile and are just struggling to find a reason to continue playing. So they would have like a huge number of goals to start grinding toward with these weapon mastery requirements. And then I think another decent requirement would be like you would have to pay, I don't know, 50% the value of the gun once you do the goals to unlock the mastery in order to actually like upgrade to the mastery. I feel like this is a pretty expected feature, but you should be able to switch between the non-mastery and mastery version, you know, if you want to use the original version of the gun at some points. I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about. Again, thank you to Offslack for showing me these. I think they're non-public, at least until after I post this video, I suppose. But yeah, I think that's about it. I'll see you guys.